And welcome everybody. I am Ball Python Love. This is the BPL Show 2.0. And tonight we got a legend. And I mean, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but I'm like 100% sure, being a legend, everyone in the chat already knows who you are, Mr. Brian Gundy. And if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Gundy, and I own a business called For Goodness Snakes.
Yes, he does.
And David, I want to apologize. I have some medicine that the doctors got me using to get rid of some precancerous growths on my nose area here. So to all your audience and you, I hope it doesn't gross you out, but it's only a temporary thing. So
it's completely fine. Hopefully everything goes well and you're okay.
They're just burning some non-wanted tissue, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Okay. So we're just going to dive right in these questions.
Sure.
What is your favorite morph? Okay. And what morph do you kind of want to be known for? And I know about the gold blush Mojave. I know about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's not, and I'll just stop you right there. It's not a Mojave.
Oh, or not Mojave.
Yeah,
it is the gold blush.
It is, yeah, but that's okay. Keep going. I'm sorry.
But what is your favorite morph?
Oh, it's down. It's it's the pied.
Yeah. Pied is your favorite, but
yeah, there's no second place.
No second place. I
like that. It all starts and stops right there.
I have two visual pieds. Both 100% orange ghosts. So I mean, I can't wait for them to grow up. And
oh, that's great. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, so of everything you could have done, or any animal you could have chosen, why reptiles? I mean, because of everything, and I know it started very young for you at like 3 years old, if I'm correct. And but what stuck with you so much about the reptiles? Like, what made? Because Brian Gundy's a legend. So
yeah, I know. I keep hearing that. I don't know how to respond, but maybe someday I will, but I don't. The thing that it's with me, animals. And not just animals, but holding on to animals really wild animals. I have been interested in wild animals and wanting to hold them ever since I was 3 years old. And it just so happened that snakes and lizards and frogs and toads and salamanders were the easiest things for me to get a hold of and bring them home from the creek and start to build everybody's backyard collection. And that's what I had. I had a backyard menagerie. And lucky for me, my parents I don't remember them ever having any issues with it. My first boa constrictor I got when I was 12 years old.
Yep.
And I actually built a cage. It wasn't even a cage. It was just a tree limb that I cut
out of my
parents' walnut tree, and then had it suspended from the ceiling of my bedroom right above my bed. And I went to bed every night with a 6-foot boa constrictor right above my head. And that's how I kept that snake. I didn't keep it in a cage. I kept it on a tree limb above my bed in my bedroom.
I've heard that story, and that is really awesome. Like,
so yeah, it just went from there. I was lucky enough to work with a guy. I worked at a company for 30 years and was able to kind of work my way up the ladder, if you will. And I was a supervisor and then became manager. And this guy that worked with me all those years also had this passion for animals like I did. And he and I actually built the business together. In fact, it was his wife that came up with the name For Goodness Snakes. I did not come up with that name. I can't, and I will never take credit for it. Yeah. And so then just through the course of time have progressed, as a breeder and as where I want to be. And I've sort of evolved into a reptile educator. So I do a lot of educational presentations at schools and birthday parties.
And we could kind of wait on that part because I do have questions on that. But yes, yes, you do. And I got questions for that. So what are some of your current projects you're working on breeding wise?
Well, definitely the clown pied, or I should actually say the pied clown. in my brain, I never want to put one genetic trait above the pied. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, my pied clown project is very strong. I've been working on it literally for 15 years, and I have almost been holding literally probably 75% of the animals back for the last 15 years. So I have a nice group of animals that's really, ready and willing to produce pied clowns and combos of pied clowns. And so,
And you
yeah,
like the
that's
low
my
white.
project.
And you like the low white pieds, correct?
No, not at
no,
all.
you're
I'm
not.
not.
My bad. You're
don't.
high white. High white.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm kind of a mid-range, really. If
Really?
you're, yeah, oh
A
yeah.
lot of your pies I see are like really like high white.
They are, but if I were to show you my favorite, it's not a high white at all. It's probably 50%.
That's cool.
But yeah, I do have quite a few high whites, and high whites. I would take high white over low white any day. I'm not a low white kind of guy. I almost stayed out of the Enchi Pied project because the Enchi Pieds are almost typically low white, and that didn't really interest me very much. But through the years, I've kind of progressed and evolved and have changed.
Okay.
So
I didn't write this down. I know this. The second part I don't know though, because I know you like to palpate, right? You like to do it old school. Do you have an ultrasound machine now, or you just don't even, you don't, it's all, you got this.
I don't even, no, I don't need one. I don't want one. I would just be wasting my time. It would just be adding another step or steps to my already busy 24/7, 365 business. So yeah, I'm always looking for the quickest and easiest and most effective and efficient way to do things. And for me to sit and take the time to ultrasound just doesn't make any sense to me. Not to me personally, it's just not, and I was a vet tech for 9 years, and I know how to use ultrasound machines, and I've used them with, pregnant dogs and stuff like that. But nah, just not what I enjoy. Actually, I enjoy the palpation side of it. It's part of the fun for me.
Yeah,
is to be able to feel those follicles and watch them and feel them grow. As you're palpating week by week, day by day, you can actually watch things. If you're old school, you're going to see things that most people wouldn't even consider looking for when it comes to the way the animal grows and shows its weight and all, conformation, all sorts of fun things.
Okay. So you've been in the game for a long time now. I mean, you're a living legend. Okay. So what's your opinion on the glass tubs or bigger enclosures, provided they got plenty of hides if they're using a big enclosure? What's your opinion on that? Do you prefer glass tubs? I know what you use. I mean, I use sea serpents, so I know that you use the racking system, but what's your opinion on all three?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, one thing you mentioned that I always kind of put my 2 cents in there, especially if there are any newer beginner people out there, don't use more than one hide box. Okay. And put the hide box on the hot spot. If nothing else, put half of it on the hot spot and the other half on the area that's not getting, conduction from your hot spot. Also with ambient temperature, I'm getting phone calls almost on a day-to-day basis right now. Respiratory infection. My snakes are doing this. I just had 3 snakes die. I had a $5,000 snake die, and the list is going. I mean, it's going crazy out there, and you got to keep that ambient temperature up. The ambient temperature. These are not colubrids. These are not king snakes, milk snakes, and corn snakes. If we were talking kings and milks and corns, we probably wouldn't even be having the temperature conversation, because in-house temperature is fine. But with ball pythons, especially, one thing to consider, and this was like an aha moment for me years ago, is the temperature for incubating ball python eggs is 89 degrees. So if the incubation temperature is 89 degrees, then the optimum temperature for a ball python must be 89 degrees.
I'm seeing
And I'm
this
not
is
making this stuff up. This is the ambient temperature that these eggs hatch at. So
yeah.
what is the optimum temperature for the parents if they're laying these eggs underground where it's 89 degrees or somewhere near? So yeah, even the ambient temperature has to be up there.
So that's kind of this is the great thing about having a legend on. You answered another question I was going to answer you down the road.
Okay.
So that's perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
How often do you go herping? And what was the craziest thing or reptile? So if you saw, it doesn't have to just be a reptile, anything that you ever saw, what is the greatest thing in your opinion that you have found while herping?
Okay. What was the first part of the question? How often do I go?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll just try to be conservative. 3 times a week.
No, if you got a good answer, keep going. Trust me.
Yes, I go 3 to 5 times a week. But we'll say 3. I mean, I don't want you guys to think I'm weird or anything.
No,
But yeah, I go three times a week.
That is awesome.
Easy. Yeah. It's how I get my therapy, you know. I'm out in the mountains, I'm in God's country, and I'm catching snakes. For someone like me, it doesn't get any better than that, you know.
That is awesome. And so what's the craziest thing you in your opinion that you have ever found?
You know, there's a lot of them, I'll tell you. We found a California king snake eating a road-killed northern Pacific rattlesnake on the road while cars are passing left and right of it. And my friend and I are out in the middle of the street with our flashlights videotaping this. You can actually go to my YouTube channel and watch it. And traffic is going all over us. And he and I are standing out in the middle of this road videotaping this California king snake eating a smashed road-killed rattlesnake. And as soon as the king snake is done with its meal, I then take I just picked up the snake. It's just a Cal King, non-venomous. So I just picked it up and took it off the road and let it go. But it was sure a pretty cool experience, you know. And then another time I found a beautiful gopher snake eating a baby rabbit out in the wild. That's
okay.
And yeah,
any bears?
What's that?
I mean, you're in California. I mean, bears, anything like that?
No, but I have. This is a weird one. I have caught, field caught a wild coyote puppy.
Really?
A half-breed coyote puppy with its mother about 30 feet back in the sagebrush, just pacing back and forth. And for about a half an hour, I was just on my hands and knees talking this puppy to me, and it was responding. It was wagging its tail and snarling at the same time, and it just kept coming closer and closer. Finally, into my arms.
That is awesome.
And my brother was there. He was all ticked off of me. He and I were actually owl hunting. So I'm into birds of prey. I'm into falconry.
That's cool too.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
If there's anyone you could go herping with, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh yeah, there's no question. Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin, kind of. Yeah.
There's no. And again, there's no second place with him either. You know. Yeah, he would be the top of the top.
That would be truly fun. Yes.
Yeah.
You've been you've been selling snakes for years, and if you could have choose any person that you haven't sold a snake to in the world, it could be anybody. Who would you want to pick?
Who would I want to pick to sell a snake to? Geez, that's a good question.
It could be anyone you
It's
want.
probably
Justin Gavelka.
Uh-huh.
Gavelka. Yeah, right on. That is awesome.
Yeah. Can you imagine how a breeder, and I know he's buying from people, you know, but just what a humbling experience, and what a compliment to be able to say that, you know, that Justin Kabelka bought one of your animals. Wow, that'd be
that would.
cool. So Justin, if you're listening to this, you know, come on.
What's the most awkward or most painful bite you took in while herping, and what caused it?
Oh, well, yeah, there's no question there either. I was showing some friends of mine how to catch a Western, not a diamondback, but just a Western rattlesnake. And I got bit. I got bit in the left index finger, and had to cut my finger open twice and suck the blood. And
Really?
I had to be helicoptered 30, 40 miles to a hospital. And then within 2 hours of being at the hospital, I slipped into a coma, went into anaphylactic shock, and went into a coma for 3 days.
Wow.
Well, when I see rattlesnakes all the time, I'm just not one of the guys. I'm not with Nick. I love it when Nick the Wrangler. Do you know who Nick the Wrangler is?
To be honest, no.
Oh, you should watch him. He's a field herper guy, and he has no fear of anything. He's just amazing. Nick the Wrangler.
When it got you, like, was there a lot of venom that it actually injected into you? Or
I had its head. I mean, yeah. So I had its head in my left hand, but I'm right-handed. And as I was holding on to it, it started kind of maneuvering its body, and I was counting its buttons. It had 6 buttons. And I really wasn't, I don't know why, but I really wasn't paying too much attention to the head. And one of its fangs literally came out and around and reached for my finger and bam, jabbed it. As soon as it touched it, it just stabbed like a stinger right into my finger. And then the snake, and I had to kind of let the snake go for a second. And the snake was literally gnawing on my finger, pumping that venom right into me. And I had to pry him off of me and then, you know, throw him away into the bushes. But yeah, there's no question. So 5 minutes after I got bit, I couldn't even stand up. I fell down 2 times, and the third time, my friend had to pick me up and throw me over his shoulder.
Was it almost immediately after being bit? Where
2 minutes, I couldn't. I fell down. Yeah, I fell down, and the third. Well, I fell down 3 times within about 2 minutes, and the third time I fell down, I went to get up, and I couldn't. And that was 5 minutes after I got bit.
But right when you got bit, when did you start cutting your finger?
Immediately, within
seconds. Oh,
yeah.
Like deep, like you were like all the way to the
bone. Yeah.
Like,
well, think about it. You know, you never plan on anything like that happening, but when it does, Dad, you're going to do what you got to do. You know? Yeah. So yeah, I hope I never have to do it again. But yeah, it wasn't a fun experience. Who wants to sit there and slice their finger open? No.
Yeah.
No. So I take pictures. I say hello and goodbye. I don't mess with them. We're good friends. I have a huge amount of respect for them.
Okay. I'm truly, dude, I would love to go herping with you sometime because I'm so close, dude. That would be dope.
I take people all the time. Yeah, come on out.
But we would have to go see some rattlesnakes.
Oh yeah, I know exactly where they're at. I see almost every time I go out. Almost every time I see rattlesnakes.
That's really cool. Even right now,
well, if I see snakes, I see rattlesnakes. It's the most common snake I find. Yeah.
Okay. Just your opinion on this. What is a good number for clutches for a new breeder to shoot for?
Oh, number of eggs?
Well, or clutches, eggs or clutches. I mean, like, because I mean, eggs could vary. One female could give you 10, one could give you 6, one could give you 4.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Right. So what was your question again?
What would be a good number of clutches for a new breeder to shoot for?
What is the end goal? That
What
would be
is the
my,
end
I
goal?
have to know that before
Okay.
I be able
Damn.
to answer the question.
That well, so I want people to at least catch some kind of knowledge when I do these shows. You know what I'm saying? So I
Okay.
mean,
So
I'm just
when you're planning on making money, okay, when I say making money, the way I look at it, if you make more than it costs, is if you're at the end of the year, your sales adds up to more than your overhead, then you have created a profitable, successful business. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to make $1 million. It doesn't mean you have to make 10,000. You've done that. You've created a successful business. It's profitable. Okay, now you can take it from there. But you're not going to be able to make a profitable experience or a profitable business working with $100 and $200 snakes. You're just not going to do it. You're going to have fun, and it's going to cost you at the end of the day. So to make at least break even, you're going to have some powerhouses in your collection, so that when you go to sell them, maybe not everybody's going to want to buy that $5,000 snake. But if
yeah.
you've got it, and there's that guy out there or that woman out there that has the 5,000 and wants to spend it on that snake, then at least you're the one that had it. If you don't
Okay.
have it, you're not going to make it. And there's only two ways to get there. And that's by taking the slow road, pretty much like I did, or purchasing animals that are going to produce valuable animals.
Yep. I
Yeah,
agree.
it's just, yeah, you got to put some money into this. If you were to ask anybody that's in this business now, then is successful, we're probably talking a minimum of $100,000 to $150,000 minimum, and investment. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just going to use Miguel, and I've never met Miguel. I appreciate him. I honor him. He's a great guy. But his business, the name of his business, Always Evolving, is exactly the way the rest of us should be thinking. If
Yeah.
your collection, if your husbandry, if whatever you're doing within this community or passion or whatever isn't always evolving, you're going backwards, because the rest of us are moving forward. And I love the name of his business.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have too many $250, $300 snakes hanging around.
That's
Get my
true. I
drift.
mean, yeah. No, recessives are the way to go. I mean, and some of them cost a pretty penny.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
what do you think is the best time to start your season and to end your season? If you could say
October to or through March, April. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it varies. It always varies. I just it comes down to a timing issue where I have to just decide, okay, I'm done. I might have a couple stragglers out there, who knows, but I'm done. And then that's when I start going back into the non-breeding cycle, if you will, but it's not really a cycle. But yeah.
Okay. So I do got a really good question coming up for you, and I know your answer on it. And is there something in your opinion on how we can improve the reptile community, and what is it? How can we improve the reptile community? What is the one way that you see that is going wrong that everyone can improve on?
I think probably there are two things. Okay. Humility. Okay. We're all just winging it in doing this. We're all learning. It's a continuous learning process. And give yourself some, don't beat yourself up so much if you make a mistake. It's the mistakes that we learn from. You know, I was a manufacturing manager, and I used to drive my boss crazy. And somebody in the shop would make a mistake, and he'd get all ticked off, and I'd go back out there, and I go, "All right, man, another opportunity to do it better. You know, to learn from it. What can we learn?" And if it wasn't for that mistake, well, maybe we wouldn't have been able to learn and keep from making a different mistake, or who knows, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm sorry, what was the question again? I'm so old.
No, you're good. You're good. How can we improve the reptile community?
Okay. Stop worrying if you have the best looking animals on the planet. Everybody that I've ever met has some gorgeous animals. And I think if we kind of get away from wondering if ours are better looking than someone else's, or competition, and more focus on your internal collection and do what you can internally, and to forget about whatever. But who do you know that knows your collection as well as you do? So
That's true.
make sure that when you're pushing your collection, that you're pushing the direction in the way you want it to go. I mean, I like pied, so why would I go around producing a bunch of yellow belly stuff? I don't know. I'm a pied guy. And so
Yeah.
everything I touch in my breeding, in the breeding team, is either going to be pied or be het for pied, along with clown and other things. But it's the pied. If it doesn't have pied in it, it's not even on my team. It's
Yeah.
not even part of the thought process.
I
So
love
yeah,
that
it's all about pied.
If there's no pied involved, it's not coming this way.
Not in my collection. No.
I love that answer. So you're still teaching about reptiles, right?
Yep.
What is the greatest moment you have gotten from teaching about reptiles? Like
Oh.
what is your greatest thing you get out of it?
Oh gosh, there's so many good things, but the best thing that I can say that ever happened was at the end of a program. I'm having a conversation with a teacher or some kind of an adult, and this little kid, must have been 3 feet tall, just runs into my legs, grabs my legs, and looks up to me and goes, "Brian, I love you." Just like, just like that. And I'll tell you, that's just like, I mean, what do you do? It melted me. And he loved me because I took him from being afraid of snakes to being comfortable with them. And that's what I do. That's my specialty. And that's what I love to do. And it's not the kids that really I enjoy the most. It's the adults that I enjoy the most.
Now, there's a question I would like to know, touching in a little bit more on it.
Mhm.
Is now, are kids more nervous when you're there teaching and showing them a ball python, or is it the adults that are like, "Whoa, let me step back some"?
Oh, jeez. It's like night and day. It's the adults.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when
That's
I'm
crazy.
doing my program, there's one point where I say, and I'm talking to the audience and I say, if I do my job right today, you guys are going to feel totally different about these animals. But the key is, if I do my job right, you're going to, and it's amazing how how I can pick and choose the ones that are scared. It's just so obvious to me as I'm looking out into the audience. And so it's very common for me to sort of pick on that person and have them come up and be a part of the audience participation segments of the program. And so it's really my goal to take those people and turn them 180 degrees. And it's the craziest thing is I tell people during the program, I said, this is going to sound strange, but in just a few minutes, you're all going to be running around with snakes hanging around your necks. And they all think I must be crazy. But in about 5 minutes, they're all running around with snakes wrapped around their necks,
That's good
and
right
with
there.
smiles on their faces. And so, yeah, it's a big part of what makes me tick. It's just, it's a huge part of what I do.
So here's a good question for you. I know your answer on this already, and I'll give the answer. I already know your answer.
Let's see how good you are here.
Okay. There's an age-old debate about feeding in your snake inside the enclosure to versus feeding outside into another enclosure or outside of it?
You do know my answer.
You like feeding in their enclosures.
Oh,
How do
gosh,
you
yeah.
believe that feeding in the enclosures do you believe that, why people do it? They believe that it's going to be cage aggression, right?
Yeah. So here's what it comes from. I don't know if your audience has heard of Pavlov's theory. Okay. Ring a bell, feed a dog. Ring a bell, feed a dog. Ring a bell, don't feed the dog. The dog will salivate. The dog will go through all the emotional process of wanting to eat because you rang the bell. Okay. If you pull a tub open and feed it, and pull the tub open the next week and feed it, and pull the tub open the next week and feed it, and pull the tub open the next week and feed it, and on and on and on. All that, you're going to train that snake real easy. This is not a stupid animal. You're going to train that snake that when you pull the tub open, you're going to feed the animal. You're going to pull. So the way you get around that is to pull the tub open, hold the snake, get it out, put it around your shoulders. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, put the snake back. The following day, do the same thing. Get it out for 15 minutes, hold it, get it out. The following day, do the same thing. The week after, then feed it. So you're going to take that snake out of its tub 8 or 10 times between each feeding, rather than training it through Pavlov's theory to eat just like a bird, just like we train birds of prey, or racing pigeons. I used to race pigeons. It's all the same thing. It's all based on feeding response. How do you think they get to do, or dolphins or anything that people train? How do you think they get them to do it? It's all through feeding response.
That's very true.
So, don't feed in. Don't take your snake out. And remember, these are ball pythons. This is not a gopher snake. This is not a California king snake. This is a ball python. These animals are known to go off food. If you take it out of its cage and feed it, there is a higher percentage that snake won't eat just because you took it out of its cage. You took it out of its cave. You took it out of its comfort zone and you put it somewhere where it's never been. And you're expecting you're expecting that animal to not even consider that whole experience and then just switch gears and eat. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And if your snake won't eat, feed it inside of the hide box.
You had a friend, you said on that video, you were like, feed him in the enclosure, and you said within like 2 minutes, bam, snake took it.
Well, not even that. I haven't. As I'm feeding, I'm just literally tossing rats in tubs. I'm pulling tubs, I'm tossing rats. I'm pulling tubs, tossing rat, pulling tub, tossing rat. And I'm hearing bang, bang, squeal, squang, whatever. And that's what I want to hear. It's not a pleasant experience. I hate the fact that rat has to give its life so that my snake can survive. But I've been able to deal with that for years now. But yeah, I want to hear that sound right now. And that's how I get it. And there's no way. Can you imagine if I had the mindset of taking my snakes from their cages to another cage just to feed them? Do you know how many days it would take me to feed 200 snakes, and how many cages I would have to change cages of 200 animals just to feed them? That would never happen. And it has never happened, and it never will. There isn't a professional breeder on the planet that doesn't feed his snakes in the tub. And I'll give you $100 if you can tell me of one.
There's not one. Everyone feeds in the same enclosure. I do.
Really? So why are we asking the same question when most of us should already know?
Well, the reason why
he doesn't feed separately. He doesn't. They don't know. Kevin doesn't do this. None of us do this.
But a lot of new people, like you in the video you said this, if they bought it from like a PetSmart or a
Yes,
Petco or
yes.
something
No,
like
okay,
that,
I told.
they,
Yes,
they learn it from
exactly.
a new person
And
learns it from somebody else. I'm not
uh,
saying that that's been doing it for like years, like they're not
point
going to do
well
that, of
taken.
course.
Point well
But
taken.
if
Yep,
you're new and you're like,
yep,
that's my
yep,
first one
yep,
ever,
yep,
and they're
yep,
telling me to do this, like that looks really bad.
yep. Your
Like,
point. Yep, point well taken. Yep,
um,
definitely.
who was your favorite person so far that of everyone you went herping with? Who was your favorite person that you went herping with?
Uh,
Or is it solo? Do you like to go
yeah.
by yourself?
There's really no contest, I guess.
Okay,
I'd
nothing
say
wrong with that.
Cusco.
Cusco,
Yeah, we just have a blast. He's like a yeah. He's just. I mean, yeah, he's like my little brother, and
right on.
he's just a fun guy to be with, and yeah. Hmm.
I can't wait. I actually have him for round 2 coming up soon.
Oh,
So
yeah, you're gonna love it. He's just a great guy. There's nothing. It's all positive.
no, we were talking a little bit behind stage, and to reword this question, you breed your own rats, right?
Hmm.
So I breed my own rats as well. So, but breeding your rats, you use bedding, of course. Um, when you go and get bedding, do people stop you randomly and we're like, oh my god, like you're Brian Gundy, like hey, how you doing? Like Brian Gundy, can I get a photo? Like anything like that?
Yeah, sometimes. And if any of my children are with me, it drives them crazy. Yeah, my daughter and I were at a what do you call it? Um, where you buy coffee. What do you call it? The most famous one. Where do you buy your coffee, Dave?
I don't drink coffee to be
Okay,
honest
I
with
don't
you, but
either. So that's why.
I think you're thinking
Um,
Starbucks.
Starbucks. So we were at Starbucks, and I'm with my daughter, and she's 30 years old, and behind the counter, the guy goes, "You're Brian Gundy," and my daughter, she just, oh brother, But
That
yeah,
is
it's
awesome
fun when
though.
it happens. It doesn't happen a lot. It depends. Now, if I go to a reptile expo, that's different. But if I'm out and about, remember we're into snakes. There's not a huge number of the population that's into reptiles. It's kind of a.
That is true, but you do teaching. So I mean, with
Oh,
that
believe
teaching,
me, I'm and I'll tell you when I tell my audiences, and I tell them every single time that over 50,000 children have now handled my animals. I don't even count adults at my programs. I only count children. Over 50,000 children have handled my animals, and we have never had a single issue, ever, ever. And I've
I
been doing this now
I
professionally full time for 10 years. And that's just children. Like I said, I don't even count adults. So yeah,
that
I'm
is awesome.
definitely educating people
But that's good
on
though.
the
We
on
need we
what's
need
that,
people
Dave?
like we need people like yourself to teach because I mean a lot of them are like people are breeding, they're doing their own thing, they got work, they got real life stuff going on. For
Oh,
you to be
sure.
the one to do it, like that's killer, man. Like
Yeah,
you could be like, I am
it
the
just
legend.
happened, when my kid, like I said, my daughter's 30 and my son's 33 or 32, and when they were in elementary school, I was asked by their science teacher to come in and do some kind of an educational presentation about reptiles. And I thought, well, these kids are 10 and 12 years old, and sure, I can come in and teach them something. I'm no, Justin or Kevin, but I can come in and teach them something. And so I did that, and took a whole day off work, and we did class after class after class, and did about 5 or 6 classes. And about 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call from a parent, and she
Okay.
asked me. She said that I had her son told her that I had done a sort of an educational presentation at the school with reptiles, and she was wondering if I could bring some reptiles to her son's birthday party. And I said,
Oh,
sure, I'd be glad to. And I never wasn't even gonna. The thought of making money or to charge her never entered my mind. And then during the conversation, she says, well, how much do you charge? And I said, no, I don't charge anything. I'd be glad to do it for free. And she says, no, I insist. And then I go, okay, well, how about $100? And that's how it started. And 2 weeks after that, another parent called me up. Well, I had already had a parent pay me $100, so I knew that I could at least charge $100. And from there, I was doing maybe 8 or 10 parties per month for probably 10 years. And then I got laid off my job after working 30 years at the same company. And I felt sorry for myself for a couple of days. And then I just wondered if I could turn my hobby into a business and make, I mean, not just a business where I was not, it was making money for itself, but to where I could actually pay all of my bills. And so I started going out by myself to a school, unannounced, uninvited, with a snake or a lizard, and introduce myself, pass them a business card. And if I could, during the conversation, have them give me permission to bring out one of the animals. And then once I was able to do that, once I was able to break that barrier with who I call the gatekeeper, which is the secretary at these schools,
Okay.
and if she or he allowed me to bring that animal out, what happened is most of the time is that the whole school, the whole office area just shut down. And before you knew it, I had 2 or 3 snakes out. I had 2 or 3 lizards. I had people. I was given a program, sort of what we call a show and tell, right there in the school. Well, before you knew it, it just started snowballing. And until just before COVID, I was on track to do 300 programs during the year of the first year of COVID, and we ended up doing none.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shut us down. But yeah, I'm, things are starting to move again. I've been doing some birthday parties, 2 or 3 a weekend actually, and so yeah, it's getting back to paying my bills, and we'll see how it goes.
See, that is so fun, man. You get to teach about reptiles.
Oh,
It's at a kid's birthday party. Like, it's all fun and games. And
it
like
is a
you get
blast.
to show us. I'm pretty sure you take a lot of pieds with you. That probably blows a lot of
No,
people's
I
minds.
only take one.
Oh,
But
okay.
I won't go without a pied. I have a acrylic pillar, like a display cage with 5
Yeah,
levels on it. And on that top level is always a pied. Always, always,
always.
always.
That
No, yeah, always. I very rarely use that word, but in this particular case, I can do that. Always.
nothing wrong with that, man. And like I said, to be able to teach kids and do
Oh,
birthday parties, schools, go to a
I'll
library.
drive into a parking lot and I'm listening to the kids. I can hear them yelling and screaming, "The snake man is here. The snake man." I mean, and you just can't help but go, "Oh, wow, I get to do this again," you know? And then you're packing up things and you're going in 15 minutes later or an hour and a half later, you're going to be doing another party. And it's a blast. It's just the best thing there is.
That sounds
Think
so
about
fun to
it,
do. No,
What's that?
that sounds so fun to do.
And you
Like
too
that.
can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
But,
I've mentored quite a few people, 2 or
so
3.
bringing up mentor, who is the legendary Brian Gundy's mentor?
Huh. Uh, and I don't know that I've ever told them this, but probably in some cases, Dan and Colette Sutherland, and
Okay.
their ex-partner Dwayne Richards, who is
Okay.
now passed. But yeah,
Oh,
those
sorry.
guys go way back. Bob Applegate, back in the colubrid days, because I did colubrids for about 10 or 12 years before I switched over to
The
ball
ball
python.
python.
So I was
Yeah.
as thick into colubrids. I was producing about 350 colubrids every year. So I was loading up tables, with deli cups, 4 or 5 deli cups high, loading up the whole table. Yeah.
That is amazing. So you've been breeding for years, okay?
Mhm.
What are some problems you encountered as a breeder, like egg bound, anything like that?
Well, when you're a colubrid breeder, you got to. I had a situation where I had a California king snake kill and eat a Sinaloan milk snake, and I ended up giving the Sinaloan milk snake mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and ended up
Oh,
reviving the
nice.
Sinaloan milk snake. I actually wrote an article about that, and they published it in Reptiles magazine. So if you go back and look at 1993 or something like that in the Living with Reptiles section, you'll find my article. But yeah, that was an interesting experience.
Damn, that's really cool to know. You were in a magazine. I did
Yeah,
not know that.
that's my claim to fame. Yeah, and not only any magazine, Reptiles magazine.
That is awesome.
That is the thing. That's the big deal.
So have you ever told your wife that you're gonna go to the store and instead you actually went herping or buying another reptile and was like, yeah, no.
I'm sure. Yeah, there are times when I'll say, babe, I'm going shopping or I'm going grocery shopping. But, 3 hours later, I'll be back because I went herping before I went shopping.
Yeah.
I still went shopping. I just went up to Lexington Reservoir or wherever and hiked around a couple of miles and then came home. But yeah, there's no reason for me to hide a bunch of things from her. So I try not to.
I feel you. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I strive for that, right?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I strive for it all the time. If the wife ain't happy, I know it's a bad day.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, so in your whole career, it doesn't matter what kind of pairing it is. I'm not saying just ball pythons, but if it is another pairing, I'd like to know ball python pairing as well. But what is your favorite pairing that you have ever done? What's up, cold-blooded? Everybody else, really quick. I didn't say anyone. Gray's Reptiles, gotta love carpet pythons. Low life, Derek. Thank you, everybody.
Do they have any questions, Dave?
Yeah. They've been yelling legend over there on the side.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask because I can hopefully then help somebody. What was your question again?
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. I just. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
What is your favorite pairing of all time that you of course produced? What is your favorite pairing of all time, regardless if it's ball python or it's the colubrids?
Yeah, I'd have to say the pied clown stuff, and to be the favorite one is the pastel leopard clown bred to a pied clown, and the babies that I've gotten out of them are just amazing, and
nice.
And hopefully next year we'll start breeding from pastel leopard pied clowns to pied clown females. So that will take the project way on to the next level. And then I'm starting to add Orange Dream and Enchi. I want to, I'm hopefully to produce, get some Enchi pied clowns going.
So you know who Gray's Reptiles is, right?
Oh, Gray's?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, so he has a question up here on the video. If you could see it, it's question: do you have a yellow line pied?
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Gray, how's it going, bud? Well, I shouldn't say that. I used to be able to say that. 90% of every pied I produce is from my own personal line of pieds that I've been working with for about 12 years or so, maybe even longer. And I bought the patriarch male pied, and from the moment I found him, and I searched and searched for about 2 years for the pied I wanted. I finally found it, and it was a striped pied. And almost every single one of its babies have been striped, and its grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So I have just, through selective breeding, included the name yellow striped pied. It's not a gene, it's not anything, it's just a selectively bred group of animals that I've been working with that consistently produce striped pieds. Even my pied clowns are striped. If you look at the market at pied clowns, my pied clowns look totally different than everybody else's, and mine are striped. Gorgeous. And I don't know how that could happen, but I do. I mean, but yeah, the pied, because clowns are striped. You know, they have a dorsal stripe going down, and my
Yeah.
animals do that, but it's not. It's sort of a reverse stripe when you put the pied to it.
I
It's
actually I actually bought 3 snakes from Grace. Well, 2 actually. He gave me one.
from Gray.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's a yeah. How am I gonna say?
I'm
Gray's
not.
yeah. He's the kind of person you want to be. You know. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's and we've never met. You know, I'm not here to pull his chain or anything like that. But I've always just been yeah, very appreciative of him. He's a very good family man. So yeah,
So
appreciate it.
you've been in the game for a long time. I'm kind of curious, and I am. Who do you have on? Who do you have your eyes on an up and coming breeder? And if so, who is it?
Oh yeah, I have one. I have look. Can I mention two?
You could mention
Okay.
5. I don't.
Rich McCall from Rich McCall Serpents and Jason Amos. Those 2 guys. Watch out.
Okay.
And not, I mean, I shouldn't say watch out. They're already producing animals that are cutting edge. And yeah, those 2 guys are 2 very respected breeders especially in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got about 8 minutes left, and then we've been going the hour. Like I said, I'm not going to keep you longer than that. 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
Man, I've enjoyed every second of this. This is epic. I eventually got to get you down for a round 2 if you enjoyed your time.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see. I want to choose one of these greater questions and not just a stupid one because we got a few moments left. So we brought up the ambient temperature. What's your average temperature for the ambient temperature in your snake reptile room?
83.
Okay. And do you believe in brumation? Your
Yes.
brumation. Okay.
Yeah. But but let me just kind of put something in there if I can.
Yeah, of course.
Because you do it because I like to do it. I've heard of several people that don't do it that are also successful with their breeding operation. So it may or may not be something that's a must. Now, when it comes to ambient temperature, that is, in my opinion, more important than food for a ball python. Not a colubrid, but a boyd, any kind of boa python. You're going to need those types of ambient temperatures. And when it comes to humidity, you probably know my opinion on that. Humidity, in my opinion, is not
nope.
the huge factor that a lot of people say that it is.
2 things you need for a certain bacteria to show up is heat and humidity.
Hey,
so
it's not rocket science. Yeah.
No, it's not.
You do watch my videos.
Oh yeah, Mister. You're a legend, man. If you're not watching Brian Gundy's videos, I don't know what's wrong with you. You should be checking that shit out.
And you guys, I just let you know, I'm not doing YouTube much anymore. I'm actually on Instagram. I'm on Instagram almost every day now. It's just easier for me to do. And
well, okay, well, I'm going to do it with 2 more questions, and one because you just brought it up. And it kind of just popped in and it was written down, but it kind of just came right to me. Because, COVID and like you said, you had a bunch of shows in the big first year of COVID, lined up and they all got canceled because of COVID and all that. Have you thought about making a weekly live stream on your channel just to educate people for those who want to show up and ask you hey, what do I do about this?
Or I've actually been thinking of doing some live on Instagram.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So it's just because it's just, it's all right there. You know, on Instagram, I can do it from my phone. I could be anywhere, and I'm becoming more comfortable with it. So yeah, I have been thinking about doing some live stuff specifically to get questions and hopefully get some, get some help out there. Because I'll tell you, I don't think I've ever been to a PetSmart, Petco, or even private owned pet shop. And I go to a lot of them, and I go in there and I ask questions as if I'm a beginner. And they don't say anything about ambient heat. And if you're not using ambient heat, your snake is probably going to get respiratory infection. And I hate to be pessimistic because I'm a totally optimistic person, but I just been doing this so long that I can just tell you just from experience that if your temperatures are not above 80 degrees and you start getting down into the 70s or lower, your ball python isn't going to make it. It's just not.
Man.
So keep that ambient temperature up. 83 is about perfect. But remember, and this is key, the temperature for incubation of ball python eggs is 89 degrees.
9 degrees, yep.
And so if that's the optimum temperature, then why don't we just focus on that? And I'll tell you right now, if we did, a lot of people's vet bills would go down. And the sad part about it is, this woman that I was talking to the other day, she was telling me that she just lost 3 or 4 snakes, and it was $10,000 worth of snakes, and they're now dead. And and her ambient temperature was way down, and she was getting everything in her whole collection was getting respiratory infection. And
that's crazy.
It didn't surprise me at all. But she had already, in 3 or 4 snakes, she had already lost $10,000 worth of snakes.
Honestly, there's so many things I could touch on that. I'm just gonna drop it to where you left it. I don't want to, say.
Oh, you don't have to. Yeah, I don't. And just remember, the longer we're in this, the more we're going to learn, but the more mistakes we're going to make too. And the mistakes are the good things. That's, the College of Hard Knocks is, in my opinion, the best college I could ever go to.
Oh yeah.
And it's really been the only college I've ever gone to. And it's gotten me to where I am now. But it's that college that is the key. So yeah, never be afraid of making mistakes, and you're going to make them, and just learn from them.
So for my last question before we end this, and this will be the last question, what is your favorite dream snake? If any snake you could wish that you could have right now, that or already still have or do have, is there anything? It could be any snake. What is your dream snake?
That's a great question. Diamond python.
Okay.
Have you ever checked one out?
To be honest with you, no.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I will definitely look that up.
The next snake, or it will probably be a pair, because I'll want to have babies, will be a diamond python. Yeah, they're just amazing. They're just gorgeous. And the really good ones are just to die for, they're just amazing. And they're just an amazing, that's it. Diamond python.
Sweet. I will definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, check it out.
Please don't leave though. I am going to end it here. I'm going to play the intro/outro, and I want to.
Hey, and I loved the verbiage, the text on your intro. It was like watching it was a lot of. I agree with everything you said. So good job. I wanted
Thank
to
you so much.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody, I am Ball Python Love. Until next time, I'm out of here. This was the legend himself. You guys should already know the name and go and follow his ass. If you're not, please, thank you. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.